Hello everyone, welcome to another period vlog, much sooner than any other period vlog I've done since the last one, and that's because this is my first proper period on the pill. So with my last cycle I started taking the pill, I think like originally just sort of 4 or 5 days before my period was due, and then it pushed it back a bit, so I haven't taken it for 8 days, and then I was told to stop for 4 days, and I think that was just because with my first cycle it was so close. I started taking it so close to when my period was due that they knew it was going to happen, but it was more just to start getting it into my system. So this time I am not stopping the pill. I've almost got through a full pack, as you can see, so I've properly been taking it now. Based off of when my last period date began, this is actually day 18, so a really short cycle. My period's usually like 28 days almost exactly, or at least around that 28-29, usually very regular, but with the pill I was warned it would become very irregular. So I wasn't sure if my period was coming. I started like 2 days ago getting kind of brown discharge, and it gradually got a bit heavier, and then this morning I woke up and I was downstairs. I was photographing some new sparkle pads actually that we need to send off to go on the website today, later next week, and I could feel like some dampness between my legs. That's not totally uncommon because I had a pants liner on, and sometimes I get discharge overnight, and I was like, oh, I'll change it when I finish photographing. Went to the toilet and bam, sure enough, like proper bright red period blood. Not a lot, but a bit. So I'm really curious to see. I've had like last night I had really bad like gassy pain. I don't know if that was to do with the fact that I had pizza last night though. So I was going to bed and I couldn't, if I lay on my side it was like agony. I had to lie on my back. But I took some Buscopan, and then like at some point in the night went up and went to the loo and it was all fine. But I was really gassy, and it was really painful, which is sometimes what happens for my period. So it hadn't clicked in my mind that that was happening. It was only this morning literally that I had any idea, because I wasn't cramping or anything before. I am now cramping a little bit, and I think that might be partly psychological. So what I'm planning to do is just take one ibuprofen, and I do have to take ibuprofen. Some people were commenting about this, and you know, because I'm not good to take with the virus, and there's a lot of conflicting information about this, but I actually cannot take paracetamol because I have a problem with my liver. So the only medicine I can take that helps with pain is ibuprofen, but that most of the studies say it's just not effective, from what I've read at least, that it's not effective at treating coronavirus, but paracetamol is better for bringing down the fever. But in terms of it conflicting, I haven't got symptoms at the moment of anything. It's just my period, so I'm going to take one ibuprofen, and somehow psychologically once I've taken it and I've got the pain under control, later on it's not such an issue. So I think if I do that now, I might, who knows, I might not have to take any further on, because often when I've had periods that have been a bit earlier, they've not been so heavy and therefore they've not been so painful. So it will be interesting to see if that's the case with it on the pill. And actually, like I said, I did have a bit of warning for it, because I had that kind of brown discharge, and it kind of got more and more. Whereas, so it wasn't like I just bam woke up and it was there. So having irregular periods, if I get that little bit of a warning, it's not too bad actually. So it'll be interesting to see if that continues. But I've put a pad on. I need to go to the post office in a bit. We'll get dressed first of all because I'm just in my pajamas. Need to go to the post office, and first before that I'm going to take an ibuprofen. It's 2:10 now. It's a lovely day we have here. I think this weekend's quite warm because they've been putting out a number of warnings for people not to go out to like the parks to have picnics or play around or anything like that. But we're very lucky because we have a nice garden at my parents' house, which you might have noticed I am back at my parents' house. When we went into lockdown around 2 weeks ago, I decided rather than being isolated on my own, I would go to lockdown with my parents, and we'd already talked about this and planned this beforehand, so I just moved back over here and brought all like the essential stuff with me. But actually I do need to go today with my mum. She's gonna we've got the cars on the driveway. We still need to take them out every once in a while to make sure that they keep ticking over and they don't seize up or anything. We need to just go on a quick trip today to my flat because I need to pick up my card reader. I have to do my VAT return, tax stuff. Boring, but has to be done, and I have to have that card reader to do it, and I forgot to bring it with me, so I need to go and pick that up today. So that's just, fortunately, because my flat is just where I live, there's nobody else there I'm exposing myself to, so I'm just going to quickly nip in, pick it up, and then come back out, and we'll drive straight back here and I think sit in the garden for the afternoon. But yeah, it's been, oh, the one thing I wanted to talk about before was the pill. Like the first week I took it, anxiety was really high, and also, it's a very stressful time because of the virus and everything going on. I don't know if it was just that sort of situation or if the pill did exacerbate it a bit, but I now don't have that at all. That symptom has gone for me, thankfully. The only thing I've been experiencing the last couple of days, I had really sore boobs like 3 days ago, like really sore, which is not a common symptom for me with starting my period, but it did make me think maybe my period was coming. And then of course after I had the discharge, and I started my period today, so it was a symptom, I think, of it coming, but it sort of made that symptom a bit more prominent for me, which is not one I usually get. But anxiety wise, we're good now, that's gone, which is really great. And I haven't had many other side effects. I think I had a bit of fatigue and slight nausea when I first started taking it, but that has worn off quite quickly. So as of right now, I'm not experiencing any big side effects of it. The only one is just this irregular period, which they warned me beforehand would be the case for about sort of 5 or 6 months it takes to settle down, so that's fine. It was quite painful this morning. After I finished talking to you guys on here, I started to get more cramps, so I had to take 2 ibuprofen. I was planning to just take 1, but I did have to take 2, but since then I've been fine, so hopefully it'll continue to be alright from now on. It is 7:10 in the evening now. I'm aware I've sat in this exact spot 3 times today and not shown you anything else. It's just because it's been a bit of an odd day, and when I got back after picking up my card reader mercifully so I can now do my taxes and not get told off, I basically I sat in the garden for a bit with my mum just in the sun because it was nice and sunny, and you know, we're trying to get out into the fresh air as much as we can. And then I came back and I actually went to sleep for like an hour or 2 because I didn't sleep very well last night because of that painful gas I talked to you about. But period wise, very odd. Like, I've barely been bleeding today. I could probably have managed just with panty liners actually. And I just went to the toilet right now and I wiped, and there was like very viscousy, sticky blood, like discharge, thick blood, but it was brown again, which I was a bit like, oh, is it ending? So I wiped again and there was a bit of red blood there, so it's still there, but very little. Like my pad, I didn't even have to change it, was just like a little smudge of blood in it. So it's certainly, as of right now, not heavy or got heavy. Have still been getting the cramps though. I did have to take some more medicine about half an hour ago because my cramps were getting worse again. But in terms of the actual blood, not too much yet. Good morning everyone. I don't think I said anything last night, but when I went to bed I started getting some cramps again. Like last night I had, not bad, like it's a very mild version of what my cramps could be, more just an annoyance and really unpleasant than like really badly painful. It does hurt, but it wasn't super bad. And today I woke up and I was fine. I actually slept through the night, which is great because sometimes I can be up and down in the night on my first day of my period, but I wasn't like that at all. My pad was pretty much clean in the morning as well. I like had been bleeding because when I went to the toilet and wiped, it was all on the tissue, but it wasn't on the pad, so I wasn't as heavy as I could have been. And it is so that was really great, and it's a lovely sunny day today, so I'm hopefully can see my mum's out in the garden on one of the deck chairs, so I think I'm going to go outside and sunbathe as well. We had gorgeous weather this weekend, and hopefully and it's getting warmer too. It's like 20 degrees Celsius, which is pretty mild for this time of year for us in April. It's beginning of April, it's usually a bit colder still, but we've been very lucky that the weather is getting warmer, so that helps us to, you know, stay in the garden, although it might not work so well with the lockdowns because with our lockdown in the UK we're still allowed out for exercise, so they're trying to not keep everywhere too busy, and there's some talk about them becoming more strict if people don't listen, which makes sense. But as of right now, we are still allowed out for a couple of things, and exercise is one of them. Yeah, in terms of like the period wise, I slept through the night, not really bleeding too heavily at all actually. Like I said before, I was barely bleeding yesterday, and I haven't really bled overnight, so I think this is quite a light period. I did take 1 ibuprofen when I woke up this morning because I was starting to get a little bit of a crampy sensation, and I didn't want it to get any worse because I've been known in the past to kind of think, oh, I'm fine in the morning, and then not take anything and then very quickly get really bad cramps, but that hasn't happened so far, so that was good. I've just finished reading my book on the Kindle, just a little chick flick, and now I'm gonna get up. So where I live is in Greater London, and it's interesting because London is a bit of a hotspot for the virus at the moment, and we've had messages from like family members and other people, like friends and stuff around the country and in other countries as well, being like, oh, it's really bad where you are. And of course, yeah, we're seeing on the TV it is, but I have to say, for us personally, fortunately as family, we don't really know anyone that's been, we know people that have had it, but nobody that's been seriously ill with it and been hospitalised. Certainly, I personally don't know of anyone, but yesterday it was announced that the numbers in London were lower than in the Midlands, so it looks like other parts of the country are starting to overtake us. Generally speaking, when we're out and about, because as I said before, we're allowed to go for walks and to go and get food and stuff, most vast majority of people are like abiding by the rules and staying 2 feet apart. Everyone sort of walks around each other. It's much quieter than I've ever seen it before in my life. So there's a lot of people listening to what they're being told to do, I have to say. And of course, there's obviously in the media, there's always a very negative focus on it. But I did want to say it is very positive from here. And the other thing I'll show you, is we live quite near to an airport, and usually there will be planes all over here. Take a look at this. My mum and I have been enjoying having some time on the lounge chairs, but look at the sky. Hi, Pa. Usually, like this, you would see aeroplane trails absolutely everywhere. And there's just, look right up there, nothing at all. You will occasionally see an aeroplane go past, but it's way less than I've ever seen it before in my life. I've never seen the sky this blue before. It is quite insane just how much things have changed. It's so warm at the moment, I'm even having an ice lolly. It is 8:15 in the evening now. I don't know why, but today I've just been really like sleepy and tired. Partly I think it's because, oh God, I've walked up the stairs, I'm out of breath, how bad is that? I think it's partly because there's not a lot that we can do, and so you're obviously stuck in the house or lying on the chairs in the garden, but you can't be active and go anywhere, so it does tend to make you quite lethargic anyway. But also I think because I had to take some more pain meds because my pain got quite bad about like 2 hours ago, so I had to take some more pain meds for that. Anyway, we just finished watching the Queen's address here, and it was really good actually. There's a lot of mixed feelings about our monarchy in the UK. Some people really can't stand them, and some people really enjoy them. I think my family were kind of just not fussed, to be honest. Well, my dad I think is quite anti it, Mum and I quite like them, so we're sort of in the middle. But it is nice to have that address, and she's only done it, this is only the 4th time she's ever had this sort of public address. She gives us one at Christmas every year, but other than that, like I said, it's just the 4th time, so it's quite special for us to have that. And I think for a lot of people they'll find it very encouraging. So it's just, it's a symbol of unity to us, and I can't really put it into words for what a lot of people that means. Like I said, some will really not agree with it and won't find anything useful for it and can't understand why she's giving a talk like that, but to a large number of Britons I think it does mean something. So it's really nice that we've had that. There's just something about having somebody who's lived through so much, because she first started sort of talking to the children during the Second World War. She broadcast them first of all during that time of when there were struggles, and so it's funny all these years later that she should be doing sort of the same thing again in a different way. And I don't know what it is that you just, I personally do feel some comfort from it, and you can't, there's nothing concrete that you could put it down to. It's just a sense and a feeling. But there you go, it is helpful to some, so that's nice just to mention. Morning once again. It is miserable and grey today. I don't know if you can see. Absolutely horrible. But hopefully that means it'll be quieter in the park, so we can go for a walk and get out the house, get some fresh air and everything, and not be as busy as it would be when it was sunny. Before we do that though, it's like coming up to 10 to 10, and I need to upload some pictures I took on here of the new stock. I need to edit those pictures, I need to add new codes onto the website and do all that work stuff first. I also need to do some more accounting today, which I'm not a huge fan of. So I've actually got quite a bit to do in terms of work today, but I will have time for a walk as well, hopefully later on. And I'm not really sure what I'm going to do for breakfast. I'm not hungry. I always have this issue, I'm never really that hungry in the morning, but hopefully in an hour or two I'll feel a bit better. Period wise, I'm really light. I have been this whole cycle pretty much. I've not had a single heavy bit. I've had days where I've been a little heavier, but like this morning I woke up and my pad was completely clean from last night. And like yesterday I wasn't bleeding that much too, so I think, as I said before, I think this has been a very, very light period compared to my usual periods, and I'm still taking my pill through this one, so that might be helping keep it light as well. I'm not sure, but just thought I'd put that in there, that it's been very light, lighter than usual. So one other thing I have noticed about my periods since I've been on the pill is that they tend to make the pain go on for longer. Typically, with my last few periods, when I kind of got them under control with other stuff, but I'd have a really, really painful first day, possibly second day too, or vice versa. The third day I'd still have a bit of cramping, take some ibuprofen, it'd be fine, but by day 4 I'd have stopped. But coming! Mum's just made me a pancake. I love being at home and getting spoiled. But my last period, on day 5, I was still cramping, and I haven't cramped on day 5 ever, I don't think. And this is day 3 for me, and like I said, I'm really not bleeding very much, but I'm still getting crampy pains. They're a more minor level. They're enough that they're like in the way and you need to take something for them, but they're not the dire pains I was having with my periods before. So it's kind of like, at the moment I'm kind of having to spread them out. I'm hoping, my aim with this pill is that it's going to stop my periods altogether, so I can just take a break from them for a while, but that's going to take a few months. So in the meantime, I'm hoping my periods stay at a sort of manageable level, even if it does mean I have to take ibuprofen more often than I would have for longer, over a few days my periods, but sort of less on the day, because before I had to be really careful of like every 4 hours taking it, but I haven't had to do that with this. It's just there'll be like waves and I just have to take it then. But yeah, I was having another wave a minute ago, and that reminded me of that. Pancake. Yum. Getting some nice time at the park, which is pretty empty. I really hate how tired this thing is making me. I don't think it's my period, and I don't think it's the pill. I think it is just like the fact that we're locked down, and other than being able to go out for one bit of exercise in the day, not seeing anybody else, it's really tricky. I am really, really glad that I did decide to lock down my parents. I don't think I would have mentally been able to cope on my own. I was struggling with anxiety and with like, no, I wasn't depressed and I wasn't near it, but I probably would have really started to struggle if I'd stayed on my own. But because I moved back in here, I haven't had like any of that anxiety since, because I'm still seeing other humans. My parents, I'm very lucky I get on well with my parents. I always have done, so it's not like for me where this would be a stressful situation. We've got a big house as well, which we're very lucky, so there's always space to go and be on your own and do your own thing, but also to come together and do things together. So we're very, very lucky to have that, and it's worked quite well for this. So it's not, that isn't feeling a strain at all, but I just feel so tired, and I can't, and like I'm barely bleeding. It's definitely not blood loss, and I've been like this for like a week or so, and it's kind of reminding me of when I was really sick with Lyme in a way. I was obviously much worse because I didn't get out of bed, but it's bringing back memories. And I might have mentioned this before, but when I first heard about the lockdown and we first had like social distancing introduced, it really freaked me out, because it reminded me of like the 18 months to 2 years I spent virtually housebound, and that was an awful experience, and I just was terrified at the thought of that again. But I don't think we will. I think they will. They certainly can't keep the lockdown for that long. People won't abide by it. So I think we might do peaks and troughs and introduce testing. We just don't know, and it's that unknown that's really unsettling, I think, for a lot of people. But there are some really good positives to get out of this. And with my last period vlog, a lot of people commented and said they found it really encouraging to see some of the positive sides. So I want to sort of encourage you a bit more again. And some of this I might have repeated already, but this is an opportunity for us to decide what matters to us as a society, both global and national. We in the UK, so we have the NHS, and my goodness, I cannot even imagine being in America at the moment with your health system and having to debate, like work out whether or not you're covered by insurance for this. That would just be another stress I couldn't possibly imagine. I feel really sorry for my US friends out there who are dealing with that right now, but of course we're in the UK, we have the national health system. Our healthcare is free. If we get COVID-19, it'll be a worry, but we won't be worrying about paying bills or paying a bill for tests and they've just built a new hospital like in 9 days with 4,000 beds, critical care beds, in case we need it. And you know, we don't have to pay for any of that. It's already included in our tax payments. So we're very lucky for that. But we got that after the Second World War. And this is our generation's war. It's not a war between nations, it's a war with a virus, but it is still a war nonetheless. So for those of you in America, this could be your opportunity to push for a universal healthcare system. I think one of the biggest issues that I've seen so far is a lot of places think of this as like socialist healthcare system, and we're a capitalist country in the UK. We'd never call it a socialist healthcare system. For us, it's a basic human right. So it's just about how you define it. So think of it as universal healthcare. And that also helps maintain the health of your nation. If your nation is healthier, people can work more, pay more taxes, etc., etc. So, you know, it's a time now where if this is something you want to push, it's something you could really consider after this. Because like I said, this is what we got after the Second World War. So there's all these opportunities for us to decide what matters. Are we going to push for poverty to end? Are we going to push to end global warming? These are all things we can solve, by the way, guys. It's not a question of can we do it. We've already been able to do it for many, many years. We just haven't chosen to. Are we going to choose to end poverty? Are we going to choose to end global warming? Because look at how far we've come with the science and the technology over the last few weeks and months as this global epidemic has gone on. We've advanced so much. We have the human capacity to advance this quickly now. We could solve global warming in a month, probably a week, but certainly a month, and have things implemented within a year. Poverty could be solved within a year. We could have things implemented and working within a year. So it's up to us to decide, what are we going to care about? For me, I think one of the things I'm really going to push after this is the care system, how children are treated, particularly in the UK care system, and the support that they get, and pushing for more funding for that. Because I'm doing a bit of research at the moment, and I'm not going to talk about figures because I haven't, you know, been fully gone through them or anything, but I'm starting to get some facts and data built up, which is I find fun myself, and I've got time on my hands, and this is kind of keeping me going when I'm not sleeping. It's kind of keeping me going through it, so that's something I personally really attached to. So maybe this is something you could think of for you guys. What is it that's going to matter to you, and what can you push for after this, and what is going to be our legacy after the virus goes? And it will go, so we have to think about that while we have all this time. Well, for those of you who aren't parents, everyone else has lots of time. It's just coming up to 11 PM at night now. I'm currently sitting here watching Sleeping Beauty Beauty and the Beast online, which is my favourite video. And oh, it's still running. There we go. It's my favourite video, so I thought it'd be a nice thing to watch at the moment, just as a comfort video. I started cramping again, like maybe 20 minutes ago. I'm just spotting a bit now, so excuse me. What I've noticed is that any time I start bleeding at the moment, that's when I'm getting pain, whereas before, like I said, when I wasn't on the pill, I would just get it for the first couple of days, and usually when I get like bleeding as well, but by this point, with just light spotting, it should be dying off. So it'll be interesting to see if it continues over the next few days as well. Morning, so this is day 4, I think, of my period, and it's pretty much just spotting at this point, so I think I'm going to leave it here. I'm just getting ready to speak to my assistant on my laptop, obviously, and we're going to discuss. She's my marketing assistant, Scarlett. At some point I'm going to have to introduce you to her. She's wonderful and just so funny. But yeah, so we're just going to have our weekly catch up today, go over what's happening, and then I've got a call later on today actually with somebody else, so it's quite a busy day for me work wise. I need to get through, blast through the last bit of accounts. I hate doing my accounts, but I really need to for tax reasons, and get all that done today. But it's also supposed to be a really nice, really warm day, so hopefully I will also have a chance to go and sit outside in the garden when it warms up a little bit later. But the sky's already looking so blue and lovely, and it's a really nice thing. So yeah, anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys. I do hope you enjoyed this period vlog. Because my period is so regular at the moment, who knows when the next one will be. But yeah, like so far, pill wise, doing pretty good. Like my skin's not really breaking out any more than usual. I've stopped having any sort of nausea. I had very, very mild nausea the first week I took it. That stopped. I think so far the only side effect I'm really having is the sore boobs and the period that's irregular. But those are dealable with, so we will see how it goes forwards over the next few months. Okay guys, thank you so much. Bye bye.